Throughout the early 2000s, Ferrari and Michael Schumacher were dominating Formula One. As their results started to fade, the Scuderia required a new driver lineup and a different direction, and this came good in 2007 with their first and only driver's title since Schumacher left. This video will tell the story of the team's two drivers that year and the years that follow. This is Massa vs Räikkönen, the Ferrari years. This story starts at the end of 2005. Rubens Barrichello announced he would be leaving Ferrari after his worst season with the team and moving to Honda. This left the team needing a suitable replacement. Fellow Brazilian and Sauber Petronas driver Felipe Massa was signed to the team for the 2006 season to partner with Michael Schumacher. Massa started well at Ferrari, qualifying second at the opening race in Bahrain and coming from 21st to finish 5th in Malaysia, beating teammate Schumacher, who had started from 14th. He scored his first career podium at the Nürburgring, finishing 3rd behind Schumacher and Alonso. Massa had 4 more podium finishes in 2006 and took his first F1 pole position and his first F1 win at the Turkish Grand Prix at the Istanbul Park circuit. It was a very promising first season with the Scuderia. His future position at Ferrari was secured when Michael Schumacher announced on the 10th of September 2006 that he would retire from F1 at the end of the season. After the 2006 Italian Grand Prix, Ferrari announced that Kimi Räikkönen had signed a 3-year contract with Scuderia Ferrari for the 2007 to 2009 seasons. Räikkönen wished his former team McLaren well, but he was also very happy to be making the move. The stage was set for a tantalising 2007 season, with these two relatively young drivers going head-to-head. Things started off brilliantly for the Finn at the first Grand Prix in Australia, where he took pole position, set the fastest lap, and became the first driver since Nigel Mansell in 1989 to win his first Grand Prix with Ferrari. Massa, however, suffered a gearbox problem during qualifying and required an engine change. He then started the race from 22nd position due to these problems and a 10 grid slot penalty for the engine change. He employed a 1 pit stop strategy for the race and finished in 6th place. A strong recovery in the end, but the weekend belonged to Räikkönen. This would be the story of the season. Although both drivers had 2 non-finishing positions throughout the season, Räikkönen seemed to have the measure of Massa and also had a decent share of luck. Famously, the championship that year went to the very last race in Brazil, and Räikkönen pulled off the win to take the championship by a single point. Massa finished 4th in the final standings, 16 points behind his teammate, having not had a path to victory when Brazil came around. 2008 told the opposite story, as it was Massa who bested Räikkönen by the end of the season, beating him by 23 points. However, even though Massa won the final race of the season, Lewis Hamilton famously overtook Timo Glock on the final lap and clinched the championship by 1 point in Brazil. It was heartbreak for Massa, missing the title by the same margin as Räikkönen had won it the year before. During qualifying at the Hungarian Grand Prix in 2009, Massa was involved in a heavy crash which ruled him out for the remainder of the season. But in the 9 races before this, he scored 22 points with 2 retirements, and Räikkönen only got 10 with the same number of retirements. Räikkönen did hit better form in the second half of the season, but it would not be fair to include that in this comparison. Throughout these 2.5 years at Ferrari, Räikkönen would achieve 195 points, and Massa would achieve 213. As mentioned on our previous comparison video, there is no perfect way to directly compare two drivers, but points taken home at the end of the day is a good measure of consistency. So, because Felipe achieved more points than Kimi over the period that they were together, does that mean he is the more complete driver? It is extremely hard to say, but if you look at points, they do slightly favour Massa. But when it comes down to it, even though fortune played a part, Räikkönen has a world championship and Massa does not. Thank you for watching. Do you have any other driver comparison videos that you want us to make? Leave a comment below and remember to like and subscribe for plenty more racing details to come.